Every year, more and more parents embrace the helicopter parent trend. Coincidence? I think not! The movie No Hard Feelings is way closer to reality than I thought now. This article here, have fun on spring break, kids! I'll be right next door. By Tara Weiss. This literally sounds like the stuff I saw in No Hard Feelings. As a refresher, that's the movie where Jennifer Lawrence tries seducing a 19-year-old. Now, this article doesn't say anything about older woman trying to seduce younger man, but it does show some of the how things are different from. It shows how, let's just say, a lot of these. This sounds very similar to Percy's situation before all the stuff with Jennifer Lawrence's character, where he literally shared his location on his phone with his parents, and so many other things that were called out for their for the way that Gen Z is compared to older or more middle of the road millennials in the case of Jennifer Lawrence and her character, who were both early 90s, born in the early 90s. Anyway, let's get into the article. Stone Sayburn just got back from Riviera Maya, Mexico, where he and his friends spent a week partying on the beach in what was a prototypical spring break in every way except one. Every morning, the 18-year-old checked in with his parents, who were staying in a first-floor suite at the same hotel, to see what was on their schedule. On a few nights, he met them for dinner. That doesn't sound too bad. I mean, they could probably do the same achieve the same result by just checking in on a daily FaceTime call or something like that. I mean, that's probably something I would do, if not with my parents, then someone for the sake of, in case I go missing, like the Canadian girl from Defending Jacob. Spoiler alert for the series finale of that. I want to be here as a parent knowing that my child is going to be drinking, says Elisa Sayburn of Commerce Township, Michigan, who joined her youngest on the trip along with her husband, two older sons, and one of their girlfriends. I want to share the experience with my son. I can go to an adults only resort anytime. He's the reason we came. High school seniors may be leaving home for college in a few months, but some parents aren't ready to let them party on their own in countries where the drinking age is 18. They also don't want to be a buzzkill by saying no to senior spring break. The compromise? Mom and dad are packing their sunblock and bathing suits and coming along. Yeah, this sounds a lot like the house party that Jennifer Lawrence's character busted into to find Percy in No Hard Feelings, where it was completely chaperoned and the parents were cool with a lot of things. And also Jennifer Lawrence's character be like, does anyone fuck anymore? There are plenty of parents who are like, if you don't want me to come, I won't, said Adina Kalish, who joined her daughter Ryan Neufeld on her 5-day senior spring break trip last year to Jamaica at a cost of $3,000 per person, not including airfare. But if I'm paying for this, I'll be there or you won't. Kalish said she wasn't thrilled by the prospect of going to the Caribbean with about 70 seniors from her daughter's Sandy Springs, Georgia public school, a trip planned by parents and not sponsored by the school. She definitely didn't want to take time off of work, but she didn't want her daughter to miss out on the rite of passage. Um, I'm guessing you probably actually wanted to go to the she probably wanted to actually go to the Caribbean, but couldn't find a chance, and this was her chance to do that. I mean, did they have were they chaperones? I mean, you could say that Kalish was a chaperone. That would make sense. You could write it off as that. I mean, if they're seniors, I'm assuming most, if not all of them, are 18 years old. Yeah, about 70 seniors. There's about a 50-50 chance whether they're 17 or 18 by that point. If they're 18 or older, they technically don't need to have any sort of chaperone. I mean, if it was put together by the school, they'd probably still require it because they could be held liable later on if something happens. Whereas 17 or under, probably a better idea to have someone supervising them for liability reasons. I thought it for a while, said Kalish, who recalls her own senior year spring break when she and friends stayed in a relative's apartment in Century Village, an infamous retirement community in South Florida. Of course I caved. I don't want to be the mom who says no. Well, you could always just choose to be like, this doesn't seem so bad. Or if you really think that's a problem, you should not be afraid to be the mom to say who says no. My mom was the one who said no quite a bit. She never let any of us have sleepovers with back in the day. No, really. My mom always said no to that. Her reasoning was she didn't want the liability, which I wholeheartedly sympathize with and agree with as a 28-year-old now. That's why I refuse to even have kids of my own, because I do not want the liabilities or the responsibilities. I guess, like Lester Burnham, I want the position with the least amount of responsibility possible. Watch American Beauty. Great movie. Upon arriving, Kalish took out her laptop and found a shady spot under an umbrella by the pool. The scene that unfolded around her, she said, was reminiscent of Girls Gone Wild. There was a foam machine by the pool spitting out bubbles, a band playing in the corner, a swim-up bar, and skimpy bikinis everywhere. Wait, they had a live band? What is this? 80s? No, this was recent. Having mom and dad tag along on what for many high schoolers is a first taste of freedom is certainly not on the top of many teens' wish lists. It's also seen by some as another manifestation of modern parents' inability to let go. It's called helicopter parenting. It's like Gerbert Johnson says, since they're probably only children, maybe one of two or three compared to like five or six that would have been back in the 60s. That they would have been back in the 60s. They're able to give more time and attention to them. Why am I sorry. Yeah, back when there were families of like 5 or 6, like my mom and her siblings, they actually, the parents had a harder time keeping track of each individual one. That's how independence formed, according to Gerbert Johnson. Honestly, I think it's for the better that parents are able to give more time and attention to each individual child, quality over quantity. But at a certain point, they do need to learn to let go or give them a longer leash or to accept that they are legally adults who can make their own decisions. Now, they might still be able to consult their parents, but legally the choice is theirs. Again, you can see all this in action in the movie No Hard Feelings with Percy and the way he and his parents get along, with him being 19 years old and sharing his location on his phone, and his parents essentially not allowing him to fail or do anything on his own merit. Kalicia's daughter, for the record, insists she loved having her mom on the trip. Now a freshman at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, Neufeld, 19, points out that the screensaver on her phone is a photo of her and her friends with their moms in Jamaica. Some parents embrace the spring break vibe. Kim Shire, Julie Scott, and 3 friends stayed a few hotels down the beach in the Bahamas last April when their seniors from Long Island spent 5 days on spring break. While their children partied at Breeze's, an all-inclusive resort in Nassau, the moms lounged by the pool and hit the casino at the Tonier Baha Mar. The moms stayed in a suite while the seniors bunked 4 to a room. Yeah, I don't see myself being able to go on that kind of trip, because I did not like sharing a room with just one person. I don't see myself being able to share a room with 3 other people. I mean, I share a house with 3 other people, but at least I have somewhere to flee to if they're getting on my nerves or something like that. Shire said some parents were more hands on than others, making sure their children ate properly and applied sunblock. We had a contest to see whose kids spoke to them the least, she said. I won! Her daughter Lizzie said she found her mom's nearby presence comforting and walked over to the hotel several times to decompress and take a little break from the scene. It was a lot, said the 18-year-old freshman at Emory University. There were parties during the day, and everyone was out all night. So, you needed a vacation from your vacation. Yeah, this is why I say traveling is overrated. You often need a vacation from your vacation, not to mention, I lost my train of thought. Scott said being on the ground in the Bahamas near her son Brandon gave her peace of mind. I was worried about him getting super drunk and being in a foreign country, she said. We're so much more involved in our children's lives than our parents were in ours. That's a double-edged sword if you really sit down and think about it. Like I said earlier, it's nice that parents are paying more attention to their children, but they're 18 years old, they are legally adults who can make their own choices. I mean, if they enjoy having them with them, then I can't really hold that against them. If they're choosing to let them in, I can't hold that against them either. But at a certain point, you have to learn to be able to do things independently. Yes, enjoy doing things with your parents when you can, especially if you don't live with them. Like how my mom travels down to Florida quite frequently to see my grandparents and help them take care of things because they're a lot older now. Grad City, a company that organizes spring break trips for high school seniors, opened trips to parents in 2008. It's been a big chunk of our business, said Kathleen Osland, marketing director for Grad City. Every year, we get more and more parents. And every year, more and more parents embrace the helicopter parent trend. Coincidence? I think not! Grad City's recent Riviera Maya trip included about 1,200 guests from 14 Michigan high schools and their families. Students sleep 4 to a room, and parents are given the option to stay at the adults only section of the resort. There's also an adults only pool. Schools aren't involved in the trip. I think this is why schools tend to organize some kind of trips like that. So, back in my day, senior week consisted of, okay, it's been almost a decade now, but bear with me. Okay. Monday of that week, they held a senior cookout slash field day that ended up being inside the gym because it rained that day. Tuesday, class night. Oh, Monday was also a rehearsal for class night. It was like this dinner they did for seniors and their families where they gave out awards and such. I bet today that they probably invented a different, more award categories just so everyone can get an award. You know, participation trophies and all that. Really, the diploma should be considered the participation trophy. But I digress. Anyway, Wednesday of that week was a trip to Six Flags of Massachusetts. No, its name is Six Flags New England, but it's in Massachusetts. That was a fun day. Thursday of that week, uh, no, Thursday and Friday were just graduation rehearsals, and then Saturday itself was the actual graduation. Yeah, my school did not do it, take a trip this far out. But they still organize things, probably for the sake of having some sort of control over it. Because back in my day, up until at least the year before my brother graduated, they had an all night party where they had the same mentality where if they're gonna do the things that parents are worried about, it may as well be in a controlled environment. Now, I did not partake in this party because I had my Saturday movie and I fundamentally disagreed with the idea that drinking should be tolerated. Like I said, I refuse to ever have a party at an event held in my name that had alcohol. Like, any event that has my name on it has to be dry because I will not tolerate drunken behavior. And I find it morally reprehensible. Now, I can't force people to not do it outside of that, but when it's an event that is in my name or that I am personally funding, my non negotiable is there will be no alcohol of any kind or any substance use. If that cannot happen, then there will be no event. Or at the very least, I am not going to be involved in it. I might show up to it as a guest if I'm invited, but I will not have my name on an event where alcohol is consumed or any substances of any kind. And I most certainly will not fund alcohol. Sorry I went on that little tirade there. The point is, I can kind of understand why schools would want to organize this, but this is parents organizing this. Like, I mean, schools could still have chaperones, even if they're 18-year-olds there. Again, that's probably more of a general liability thing than the usual. If you're 17 or under, you need a parent's permission for XYZ. Sayburn, the mom who recently accompanied her son to Mexico, said if she saw Stone once a day, she was good. The rest of the time, she relaxed with her own friends. During the day, Sayburn floated in the pool on one of the 4 blow-up lounge chairs she brought, while drinking frou-frou drinks. After long days in the sun, her ground floor suite became a hub where parents sipped wine, played music, and danced. Stone stayed separately in a room with 2 friends. I liked having them down there, said Stone Sayburn. It made me feel like I wasn't alone, even if I wasn't with them. 20 years ago, if this happened, this would have been the plot of a comedy movie. Like, I think RV probably had that. I haven't seen RV. I gotta catch up on 2000s comedy movies I wasn't allowed to see as a kid because they were rated R or my parents just wouldn't have it. Get a sense for what it was like back then. Of course, like I said, this sounds like something straight out of the movie No Hard Feelings, except the high school seniors actually have friends, like they're friends with each other. Just the way that the parents are overly involved, like Percy's parents. That's what this reminded me of. And I know for a fact that there's no way in hell that I would have gone on such trips in the first place. Mostly because my parents never really went for trips like that. I mean, my mom didn't even get a passport till she was like 50, and I still have yet to get a passport at 28. So I think I'm going to leave it here for the video because that's all I have to say about it. Before I get into another tirade about why I think that trips like these across the board are a bad idea, or why I personally wouldn't partake in them, parents or otherwise. Let me know in the comments what you think about all this. Give this video a like, subscribe for daily videos, and I'll see you soon.